So what is up, everybody? Got our BMW X6 2012 with the N63 4.4 liter turbocharged V8. Basically what happened is, what I think happened is it skipped timing. So was driving, did a hard pull after work one day, and then got the dreaded limp mode. So I'll show you guys in a second what happens on startup. But basically, I'm getting both exhaust and intake crank position sensors on bank 1, showing a reference fault. These engines are notorious for timing issues late in life. Basically what happens is the chain guides end up cracking and breaking. They're cheap plastics, unfortunately. And once that happens, the chain starts to slap, loosens up. With more thermal cycling and stretching a little bit, you end up just losing timing. We're going to tear this engine down, so you'll probably get this anyway. So anyway, give it a good start up and see what happens. Alright, so let's see. I'm going to start it up. You'll probably hear it starts up okay, and then as soon as it starts to run some timing adjustments, that's when you get the reference fault. So and then you just hear it kind of almost stall and then throws a code. So here we go. And there you go. So you could hear it just as it's starting to make its cold start timing adjustments. Obviously it is at a time, and the references are off, so when the timing references are not good, right away it throws it in limp mode. You can see that over here, engine malfunction, and this is pretty consistent every time it starts now. So then when you try to run it up at higher RPMs, what you'll get is and driving it and warming it up, and that as things stretch out more and that timing retards more, you just get a lot worse performance, shuddering. It vibrates a lot. Just not happy. So right now I'm pretty certain this is a timing issue. It's not Vanos because I've actuated with the diagnostic tool the intake and exhaust Vanos cam phasers. They both seem to actuate. The car reacts. The test shows that they actuated just fine. I don't get any failures. So, and it's pretty odd if both cam position sensors went out at the same time. So I'm pretty sure it's not cam position sensors and not the Vanos and not the cam phasers, because all seem to work when running the diagnostics and when actuating them independently using the tools. So this is just a notorious issue with the N63 engine. It happens. The customer care package was supposed to address this. I think in this car's case, somebody took it in, they checked chain tension, things looked okay, so they did nothing. It's just one of these things. The N63 owners, if you own an older one, with the B00, these are the original design. It has all kinds of issues like this. This is one of them. So anyway, we're going to get to work on prepping the car. Basically going to start, going to park it in a better position, and then start tearing down inside of the under the hood to get more clearance and more working space. I'm going to take all the top covers off. In my case, I don't have a lift. I do have quick jacks coming in, The quick jacks will allow me to get about 25 inches of additional clearance. What I'm going to attempt to do, I'm going to take the front bumper and clip off, well, not the front clip, but the front crash bars, and get access through the front, and then lift the car, drop the engine, and pull it out from the front. So lowering the engine, or lifting the car, lowering the engine, and trying to pull it through the clearance area that I'm going to make in the front by taking out all the radiators, radiator box, coolers, and all that such. It's a little extra work, but it shouldn't require a lift. So that's the strategy. That's how we're going to start. So basically, we're going to start tearing the car down. So stick with us. Okay, so before we get to the live action, tearing the car apart and taking the engine down, just wanted to run through some of the diagnostic work that I did to try and troubleshoot and diagnose this issue. Since I was getting errors from the Vanos position sensors, or crank position sensors, I wanted to go ahead and take a look at what was going on there. So we've mapped a few variables with the Foxwell. So I use a Foxwell OBD monitoring, or code scanning and coding tool. It's pretty good for the functions that I need it for. It can talk to all the modules. It can do most of the service functions. There's a couple here and there that I think ISTA P would be better for. Especially with DME functions, but for the most part, if I mix in the free version of ISTA P or ISTA Plus from Rheingold and the Foxwell, I've complete pretty much dealership functionality. So the Foxwell does do some diagnostic recording, so we went ahead and snagged some different variables. So you can see here on the screen, I've pretty much downloaded my CSV file and imported it into Excel here to take a look at some of these variables. So we captured engine speed, so we want to map everything versus RPM. Ignition timing, just to take a look at, just where our ignition timing is along the cycle. Did want to take a look at the NOx sensor because we did get some rough running codes as well. I always take a look at the fuel-air ratio mixture just to check the adjustment offset. This is actually really good when trying to diagnose whether you have a vacuum leak. If these get really high into like the 20-something% range, you're looking somewhere for and what usually will be the PCV system, because the PCV tubing is so weak, just real thin plastic, and it breaks a lot. So you get vacuum leaks, and you can really tell. And here I've had that problem before. This will jump up to 20-something%. You'll get error codes, and then basically replacing your PCV valves. So grabbed that just to take a look. And then our main point of focus is the Vanos position or crank position sensors from bank 2 and bank 1. So what I've done here is I've mapped the timing. I'm trying to look at the timing adjustment from the Vanos solenoids, from the cam phasers, and see what's going on. Are we getting any adjustment? My theory was that the chain is stretched so bad and we're not getting enough chain tension from the tensioners, and especially if we've slipped a sprocket on the cog and we're just slightly out of phase. When those cam phasers go to adjust, that there's just not going to be enough adjustment to get it into range. So basically you're stuck out of range, and especially when it goes into limp mode, I think it's going to, I believe, and if there are any BMW N63 calibration experts out there, you probably know this a lot better than me, but I'm sure that they stop making timing adjustments when it goes in limp mode. Just goes into should just go into a default timing, just enough to get you home. So I'm just looking for timing adjustments just to see what's going on. Like I said, I had a bank 2 exhaust and intake timing code thrown. I'll throw that up here on the screen. just so you can see what I saw in the Foxwell. And these two codes here. And so what I'm doing is I'm checking crank position over a full cycle, just driving around the neighborhood, getting onto one of the highways here, giving a little bit of gas, and then coming back in. So what I saw that was unique is that the Bank 2 did not adjust timing at all. So you can see as soon as it goes into limp mode, that's it. It's not adjusting. So timing's locked out. I did get some feedback from Bank 1. It's not a lot, so maybe Bank 1 also has some timing, out of time, or sluggish, or stretched chain. Not sure. Or this resolution of the Foxwell may also be pretty low. I think I'm only getting like 1 data point per second, so it's quite low resolution. So if it's doing any timing pulls below a second, I'm not going to catch that. But I do see some adjustment here, so it is adjusting, whereas Bank 2 is just is not adjusting. And I believe, that's to do with it being out of time. That it's not going to make any adjustments. It's going to, lock into position and just try to, stay in one timing just to limp you home. So I'm not getting any evidence that this is a Vanos issue, though. As I mentioned, I did manually fire the solenoids, and I did get solenoid action or actuation, because basically the test said that the actuators did move and do a full stroke. So or that it at least when it adjusted saw the delta range it was looking for to know that those cam phasers are moving. So those diagnostic tests you can also run on Foxwell. So it looks like it, from a diagnostic standpoint, that we're not really dealing with Vanos. You have functional Vanos solenoids. We just are out of time here. So we're going to go ahead and get to the live action. We'll start tearing off covers and disconnecting all of the connections to the engine, and lowering the engine out of the car, and then getting to work on the rebuild. Meanwhile, ordering parts from ECS and FCP. Do a little Pelican parts as well. There are a little of them in there. They're a little bit far out in California, but they do drop ship from some manufacturers and so on and so forth. So I mix them, and they sometimes have rare parts that I can't get from the other sites. So we'll go ahead and get parts ordered and start to get to work here. So let's go ahead and get out of here and get to the live action. Alright, so we're going to disconnect the battery here. Pro tip, make sure all of your doors are unlocked. Your rear doors are important to be unlocked. I've done this before. Once you lose battery and you close this trunk lid, you have to be able to get back to the manual trunk lid pop. And if your rear doors are locked and you're climbing over the seat in the front, there's not a lot of room, as you can see through. Just make sure your doors are unlocked before you pull your battery, if you plan on closing the trunk lid for extended repairs and keep out any weather. So anyway, alright, so we're going to pull the battery basically on the back of the car now. So you got 5 screws. I've already removed them previously, but you got 5 screws, 2 here, 1 here, 2 down here. Remove those. I always keep them in the bucket here. And then there's a 10 millimeter hex that you'll disconnect the ground terminal of the battery here. So we just got to get a 10 mil here, and then we will take off the ground, disconnect the battery, and then that makes it safe to disconnect all of our electrical connections, and prevent any shorting from anything here. So, all right, let's do it. So here we have the radiator fan connector. There are 2 brackets that you have to use a screwdriver, 2 tabs. You can see right there in the middle of the screen that you'll have to put a screwdriver in, put those tabs out to remove. These are pain right here. Alright, now we're going to remove the splash guard from underneath. So we got quite a few screws here. There's going to be a few back across the back. We got 3 here on the front. 1, 2, 3. And then a few off the side, these guys here. So we'll remove those and then get the splash guard off. There we are. Splash guard out of here. Alright, continue on getting more stuff off. So we're shooting for the bumper cover here. So basically what we got to do is we got 5 screws here. All right, that's on our top. There's going to be clips under the head, or sorry, whoops, not here, under the washer, windshield, headlight washer thinger. We're going to have clips under here. Off to the side here, you can see we have this trim piece. The trim piece, kind of bummer. We've got these are plastic rivets. Seems to be a thing of BMWs where you need a special tool, of course. But nonetheless, we'll get these pieces off. There's some really good ones that they sell at Advanced Auto Parts that actually have a screw on the inside and do effectively the same thing. I used them on the back when I had to take off the back bumper cover. They worked really well. So anyway, we'll have replacements of these, no problem. And then we got a screw back here. And then on the underneath, we've got on each side 2 screws here. And then on the other side, the same thing. We got 2 screws over there. So we'll take all that off, and then we'll see if we can get this front bumper clip off, bumper cover off, and then we'll start to work on the, you can see here, the radiator assembly. So we want to get that guy off as well. That way we can have access through the front, so when we drop the K-member, which you can see right here, this is all part of the K-member that's housing the engine. When we drop that down, we can pull everything out the front with clearance from the engine top. So that's the idea. So, alright, let's keep cranking. Be sure to get all these plugs. So we got the fog lights here, we got the side cameras here that come off here, and the same on this side. You got the fog light here, the camera here. Then there's a combo connector here that plugs in here. So be sure to get all of that. Then you can pull your front bumper off. Alright, next is the front crash bar. There's 4 bolts for each frame rail. You can see 2 and 2 there. And then on the other side, 2 on top. And then 2 on the bottom. Here, you just need a long extension and you can get those off. And then there are 2 other cross members from the top. There's 1 screw there and 1 screw there. Alright, now we're gonna get in there. We got a disconnect. You can see up in the top left that weather pack connector for the horn. And then on the other side, same thing. Grab that off because that's connected to the crossbar. And then we'll take the impact and get these screws out. Then it all should be loose and we should be able to work it out. I do have, obviously we got the window washer line here for the washers for the headlights that we got to be careful of, because this shroud, this plastic shroud here, this guy will likely be able to come out once we get this bar off. So just keep working, get the bar out, try to get the shroud off, and then we'll be out to the radiator. And then I will continue by draining the coolant. Alright, we also have these Torx. So you can see right there, we get these Torx out as well. Those are connected to the headlight brackets. So let's get those out of here too. So the coolant line is right here. You can see it there. Alright. And we've gotta basically open the reservoir. Should allow it to vent. Alright, let's do it. Clip. Yeah. There we go. That is why we wear PPE. As we get this coolant line capped, that'll cap off our episode. Thanks for joining. If you like what you see, smash that like button, hit subscribe. Got a lot more to come. The next episode, we'll be unboxing the quick jacks. I'll show you that process. And then from there, we'll get the car up on the lift and start to prep for the engine removal. So again, thanks everyone for joining. We'll see you next time.